Hey guys, Omni here. We are back for the series finale of Better Call Saul. From what all Vince Gilligan has said as of late, this is his final adventure into the Breaking Bad universe as well. He's moving on to a wholly different series. He's got new ideas that are, by his own description, very, very opposite of what he's been doing with Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Even more so, seems like he's leaning back into his old roots back on X-Files and doing something akin to the Twilight Zone, which I'm really excited to see what he does with that, because I loved his work on the X-Files. Without that, we wouldn't have Bryan Cranston on this show, which is a nice little fun fact. But I really enjoyed this show so far, this world that they've built out, and it will be missed. You know, it feels like we're going right back through the motions that we went through when Breaking Bad ended. But, we've had El Camino since, and now we've got Better Call Saul that's been long running since then for the last, 6 seasons now. So, 5, 6, 7 years-ish? It's been wild, man. It's been one crazy ride. I never really thought this show would be as relevant as it was, as fun and as wild and intense as it could have been, considering, just coming off the heels of Breaking Bad, man. I didn't have, I had faith in Vince, man, and his team, but I didn't have faith in my interest for the show, and they just hooked me. They hooked a lot of people, man. They got us all on board, spouting the same thing. This is a masterclass in writing both shows and direction, performances. And, Better Call Saul did not steep or dip or anything in quality, and found a way to be very different than Breaking Bad itself in tone and story and plot and all that stuff, but still have that DNA at its heart and core. And it's been brilliant, and it's been fun, and it's going to be sad to see it come to a close. Or, like I said, who knows? Never say never, but this might be it. But guys, Jimmy is not in a great situation as it stands. He has now since riled up Kim out of her hiding, out of her little mundane robotic life that she's built for herself. Inadvertently spurred her into confessing and bringing a lot of these things to light, as Jimmy himself, in a frantic, path of self-destruction, is bringing himself down. It's going to be crazy to see how this all comes to a head. The episode is called Saul's Gone. So, Saul Gone or whatever. So, it's all gone. It's a good man. It's a whole leaning back into the origin of the name itself. I can't wait to see how how everything crumbles into place, man. I really, really can't. One thing I did want to kind of backtrack on from last episode a little bit is that I had mentioned that I wasn't sure about whether I wasn't sure, and I don't know why I said it. Maybe it was just in the moment, because sometimes I say stuff and it just comes out of my mouth and it's not actually what I'm trying to say. When he was meeting Kim, they were signing the divorce papers. He was quite clearly putting on an act, and I don't know why I played devil's advocate in that moment. For some reason, I really felt the need to do that. And it was just so clear, especially with him really kind of building up to even facing her with the bouncing of the ball and all of that stuff. Even thinking about putting it off, not wanting to face her or deal with it whatsoever. It definitely couldn't be more apparent that's what was going on, that it was a show that he wanted to put forth, again, the presentation of Saul Goodman for her, so that she didn't have to see that this still irks and bothers him. So yeah, he was definitely putting up a wall, and you could see just, I don't know if she knew it was a wall though. I know we did. But yeah, you could see the pain and confusion and all that on her, and even anger a little bit on her face whenever she was signing those papers, and he basically was just like, all right, go, be gone. So I don't know, man, it's kind of crazy. And then, but that did lead to a beautiful scene with her and Jesse. But with that said, guys, we're going to hop into this. I know this is the end of the ride. I hope you guys stick around and you subscribe if you're not already for all the other things we cover here on the channel. We got a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. We've got Cobra Kai, Lord of the Rings, everything Marvel, DC, and what have you. Star Wars, all that jazz. So there's a lot of stuff coming out in the next couple of months. So it's going to be kind of busy. So I hope you do stick around. But if you want to see the full-length reaction to this or any of the previous episodes, those are going to be over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, gets you access to those as well. And some watch-along formats, so just sync up your own footage with the time codes, and you can see my reaction to the entire thing. You also get the same thing for all the other shows we cover. You also get to put forward your suggestions and then vote on what movies we cover every month. So stick around for that. I got monthly Q&As, behind-the-scenes footage to try to make it worth your while, since you are going out of your way to support the channel. And of course, I know I'm going to do that in a simple way you can help us out. It's just by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing these videos, because it really does go a long way with helping the channel grow here on YouTube. But that all said and down the way, guys, let's jump into the final episode of Better Call Saul, and supposedly the final episode of the Breaking Bad universe. Here we go. Okay, we are back here. That was a little bit of that tease at the end of the last episode. Oh, he had quite the little fish face going on there, gulping up that water, man. Dude, I can't imagine how refreshing that would be, given this situation, man. What is this little thing?
We're sitting on
out in the middle of nowhere.
Here. Literally. I say we take it, split it 50-50, take off.
You feeling right?
No.
First thing we do, take $6 million and build a time machine. Those people that you're worried about, they would never find us. Where would you go first, huh?
Oh, Christ.
Oh, a genuine little chuckle right there, man. Aw.
December 8, 2001. No, March 17th, 1984. Day I took my first bribe. And then I go forward. There's some people I'd like to check on in 5 or 10 years. Make sure they're doing okay.
Maddie might still be around if that was the case, too. I think that was what he originally was going to be going to. But then he thought of a little bit deeper.
I figure got $1 million left from building the time machine, so I take my half and just stick it into Berkshire. And I come back here, and I'm a billionaire.
That's it, buddy.
What else?
Nothing you change.
I'm rested.
Damn, that was a nice little scene. Oh.
64 E FT.
Damn.
He's headed south.
Oh, fuck, dude. Wow, he's still got a bunch of those stocked up. I can't remember if we've seen those already or not. It's interesting comparing, like, right now as we're kind of, like, experiencing it. Like, everybody's final episodes or final moments, like Jesse's, like, venture through El Camino to Walt's kind of just war path, and just how this is they each just are completely tonally different and befitting of their characters' evolutions or de-evolutions, whichever in this case may be. I mean, what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do? I mean,
Max extract pressure. Model
I mean, would he even take him again? Oh man, rest in peace that actor, dude. I forgot about that. Forgot he passed away not too long after El Camino.
Anybody home? Hands now.
Wow. Wow, that did not go so... I didn't think anybody saw him. Wow, they're watching his tapes. Robert Forster, that was his name. I wanted to make sure I got the name out there, man. Felt bad, I didn't remember.
Hello, Krista. It's Gene. Sorry I wasn't in this morning. Did you open up okay? The week's rotation needs to be posted by 3.
Wow.
Let them know you're gonna need a new manager. This is how they get you.
This is gonna end in a courtroom, isn't it? I think we've kind of bounced that idea around as a possibility, but definitely the more and more this goes, I think that's the route we're heading, man. And it would be very fitting considering the whole vibe of the show and the framework. Oh, Jesus. Ah, and I've had a boxer break like that, and that just shit sent chills up my in my hand, man. Damn, you guys, you called it, you nailed it. You nailed it. With that billboard placement was not for naught.
Bill Oakley speaking.
Trust experience, trust Oakley. I like that. It's catchy. You know who this is, right?
Oh.
Listen, this is your lucky day. I am talking to Saul Goodman's new advisory council.
What? Who's paying for this?
You are. Listen, you hear that?
Hear what?
Bang, bang! That's opportunity knocking. Get off your ass and answer the door.
No matter who your lawyer is, you are screwed. So I gotta ask, where do you see this ending?
With me on top, like always.
I would be shocked to see this end well in his favor. Oh, wow. Marie.
By our count, that's life plus
190.
life plus 190 years. I'm willing to extend a one-time take it or leave it offer. 30 years. Keep your nose clean, stay healthy. You have a shot at seeing daylight in your old age. Your co-counsel. Is he here with us?
Listen, you've got Agent Schrader's widow back there. Why don't you invite her in?
I didn't see this coming at all. This is great.
They tell me they found you in a garbage dumpster. Well, that makes sense. My husband was the best man that I have ever known. If somebody was in trouble, no matter the time, no matter the place, Hank Schrader would be there. With a smile and a joke.
An inappropriate one.
His partner, Steve Gomez, and Blanca made a home that was warm and full of laughter. 3 children. 3 fatherless children. You helped the two-faced, poisonous bastard behind it all. No matter what they do with you now, no matter where they put you or for how long, it will never be enough.
He was a man who stood by his word and was very good at his job. You and he are victims, and so am I.
This is kind of where I thought this was going to go.
2 years ago, a man came into my office. He wanted one of my clients to lie under oath. He offered me money. I declined. That night, as I was leaving my office, I was attacked. 2 men threw a sack over my head. They hogtied me, and they drove me out into the desert with a gun pointed at my head. That was my introduction to Walter White.
It's not a lie.
I did it because I knew what he would do to me if I refused. Walter White might be dead, but Jesse Pinkman and the others, they're still out there, somewhere. I have nobody. I have nothing.
Fucking Bill's face, man.
And you think jurors are gonna buy that?
All I need is one.
I was like, what play could he have? And that is victim. I just didn't. I wish I'd said it. I just started to, I don't know, doubt where it would go before then. And then that's just exactly where we synced into. Put it all on Walt.
7.5 years.
Damn, that came down a lot.
Term to be served at FCI Butner Low, North Carolina, Wing D. I visited a client once at ADX Montrose, the Alcatraz of the Rockies. No.
Wing D. And now we are done.
As Steve Jobs used to say, one more thing. Steve, 1 pint, Bluebell, mint chocolate chip ice.
Oh my God.
Inside story, previously unknown felony homicide. Concerns a prominent Albuquerque attorney.
Howard.
You're talking about Howard Hamlin. That's your sweetener.
Kim beat him to it.
Kim Wexler walked into the Albuquerque DA's office last month. She spilled her guts about Howard Hamlin.
You got nothing left to sell.
Damn.
Let's get this in writing. Not a word changes.
Fuck, that blew up in his face. I mean, he got a sweet deal from what it started off as, man. Wow.
Listen. Just listen.
That click?
The click. You wouldn't happen to have a pocket knife or a screwdriver in one of those bags, would you?
No.
What? Speak up.
I have a question. What would you do if you had a time machine?
A time machine?
Where would you go?
A meaningless question. The kind of time travel that you're thinking of is a scientific impossibility.
Well, I was watching Nova, and Alan Alda seemed to think.
Oh, well then Alan Alda, he's the expert. Quantum mechanics, we're discussing that now?
There's got to be something you'd go back and change if you could.
You are not talking about a time machine. You are talking about regrets. So if you want to ask about regrets, just ask about regrets and leave all this.
Okay, regrets then.
He's so butthurt about it, man. That's kind of funny. He still hears the click.
When I was a graduate student, I started a company. But little did I understand that they were artfully maneuvering me into leaving my own creation.
I really wish we got the events about that story, because I feel like this is a little more embellished than he puts it on.
So you started a company. Is it still around?
Oh, yes.
Gray matter.
Is it successful?
Oh, yes.
How could you never tell me about this? We could have done something with this. Wrongful termination, intellectual property theft, patent fraud. I mean, I could have.
You'd have been the last lawyer I'd have gone to.
Yeah. That is true. Had it not been for all of this criminal activity, he probably would have never, ever entertained the idea of going to SAUL.
When I was 22, I pulled a slip and fall outside Marshall Fields, and I was trying to show off, so I hit the ice fast as I could. I biffed it so hard I heard a crack. Wasn't the ice, it was me. My knee's never been the same.
So you were always like this.
Damn, Yeah, man. As much as we hate it, because we're seeing everything through Jimmy's eyes, man. Dude, the things that Chuck saw just become more and more clear to me, and I feel bad about it.
Okay, anything that makes their toes curl is bound to jam Kim up, if it involves her.
Oh, it involves her.
You give the government more, maybe they bring the hammer down. What more are you gonna get? What's left?
You don't understand. It's really good ice cream.
Dude, if he makes things worse for Kim, he can fuck right off. Really don't know his game right now. Oh. Man, if she could just get a lawyer and then she could advise the lawyer better than the lawyer would be able to lawyer on their own. So she might be able to make some magic with anybody she gets. But I don't know what she's got to work with.
See you Thursday. Let me know if you need me to pick you up.
Okay. That was a nice gesture.
You want to volunteer? Yes? Can you answer a phone? Sure. Then there you go.
Man, she doesn't know what she's got on her staff now, man.
This is Suzanne Erickson.
Hi, Suzanne.
I want to make it clear this call is completely unofficial.
Wow.
Your ex, Saul Goodman, he was arrested in Nebraska. He's been extradited to New Mexico, but that's not why I'm calling. He's giving testimony that affects you personally.
Wow. I don't see what he would get out of throwing her even farther under the bus. Wow. He's coming up all dolled up, man. What if he only said that knowing that the grapevine would get her here so that he could see her and then do whatever he's going to do next?
Your Honor, I'd also like to note the presence of the victims who are here this morning. Marie Schrader and Blanca Gomez.
Wow.
The defendant still wants to represent himself?
That's right, Your Honor.
If I may say something that I think will help the court fully understand the situation.
You are the beneficiary of the most generous sentencing recommendation. Any statement you make imperils that recommendation.
I'm very aware of that, Your Honor. 2 years ago, a man came into my office. He said his name was Mayhew. That was my introduction to Walter White. I was terrified, but not for long. That night, I saw opportunity. I shot it. Big money. And I grabbed it. My every waking moment was spent building Walter White's drug empire.
Hold on.
Wow. He wanted everybody here for this.
Your Honor, we'd like to request a recess.
No, we do not need a recess.
Your Honor, we are satisfied for Mr. Goodman to continue.
Of course they would be.
Withdraw from this case.
Denied.
Respectfully.
Not a chance.
Oh, damn, man. I feel bad for him right now, man.
Oh, I lied to the government about Kim Wexler. I just wanted her to come here today. I wanted her to hear this. If he hadn't walked into my office that day, Walter White would have been dead or behind bars within a month. And Agent Schrader and Agent Gomez and a whole lot of other people would still be alive. Fact is, Walter White couldn't have done it without me.
He wants the recognition at this point, maybe.
Your Honor, we move to strike Mr. Goodman's comments. Speculation.
And my brother Chuck.
The electric sign buzzing.
I could have tried harder. Instead, Your Honor, Bill, please, just let me get through this. When I saw a chance to hurt him, I took it.
He's laying it all to bear, man.
I got his malpractice insurance canceled. I took away the one thing he lived for. After that, he killed himself.
But that thing with your brother, that wasn't even a crime.
It was.
Mr. Goodman, sit down.
I'm James McGill.
Saul gone.
I was starting to worry.
Wow.
You know I could hire someone to do this.
Because you're my brother. Duh. You do the same for me.
Yeah.
Well, you could stay for a while. We could talk.
I'll see you tomorrow, Chuck. And I might have the Financial Times.
Damn. Oh, wow. Damn. It was the one he was talking all that shit about, too.
Hey. Better call Saul. Back here, yo. Told you. It's better call Saul.
Saul.
Better.
Paul. Saul.
He will live in infamy, man. No matter what. I swear, for a second, I was like, what are we doing back in Cinnabon?
Saul. Lawyer, sir. I got your song.
I mean, he's a friend to all the people in here, I would imagine.
How did you...
Turns out my New Mexico bar card doesn't have an expiration date.
Oh, wow, man. This is flashing all the way back to episode 1 for me, between these two, in the parking garage.
86 years. With good behavior? Who knows?
Go.
Wow, dude. It's the only way it could end, man. That's the only way. We have these suits again. I don't know about you guys, but like this book ended it. The episode for me. Farewell and thank you. Adding his prison
Bob
uniform
Odenkirk,
at the end. Oh, what's
I wanted
this?
to say hi.
I want to say thank you to the fans of Better Call Saul.
How do I even begin to thank the fans?
I'll try not to cry.
We are nothing without the fans.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm not finding the words I'd like, so let's pause it for a second. Just 1 second.
I got to play Howard Hamlin for 6 years, and the only reason I got to do it for 6 years is because of the fans.
You guys have truly been Kim Wexler's confidant in many, many, many scenes. Her closest confidant, and I appreciate it so much.
Oh, this is cool, man.
Fans have shown an appreciation that gave me a greater appreciation for the stories and reminded me how fortunate I am to have been a part of it.
Took us a long time to get this thing done. We really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoy it just as much.
This show has you on the edge of your seat, and you fans are responsible for keeping us here and having us make really wonderful, powerful, profound entertainment. So, thank you.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
Hey, Better Call Saul fans.
Hey.
Hey, it's Vince. And Peter. I'm sad that this era has come to an end. That's a wrap.
I gotta thank everybody who's watched the show.
What a wonderful, wonderful time of my life.
And I hope we've made you happy.
Oh, you did a damn good job, man.
Thank you so much.
Oh, damn! I didn't expect that at the end there, but that really that got the emotions going a little bit, man. When something comes to a close, it's never easy. But this was brilliant. I didn't see any I could entertain this going multiple ways, but the only way I felt like would have been natural or fitting would be the way it ended, with Jimmy on trial and in prison, you know, actually being the one to, you know, take responsibility for what's happened. And I mentioned this previously. We had, out of the three amigos, Walt, Jesse, and Saul. Walt died on his mission. Jesse got away. To have one or the other, or Saul, the last standing vestige of that whole foundation behind this series, to have him also get away and run off into the sunset, him also going down, Walt, it felt natural that something different would have to happen. Each of them gets a different end. I didn't imagine any one of them getting a similar end. And for Saul, especially considering that the whole theme of the show has been courts, trials, and the law, that he would serve his time. Though, he played me just like he played them a couple of times, thinking maybe he has some kind of huge, grandiose, last-ditch legal card he can play, and legal kung fu, and his kind of charismatic performance that he always loves to go, really turn up the Saul Goodman and kind of get him stuff. And he did, man. He did. He worked that hard. Like Kim said, you got it down. This life, what was it? It was life plus 190 years or something like that is where they started. And he got that down to 7 years. Is just it just speaks to his prowess and his way of his just mastery of manipulating the law and people, for him to forego all of that. And with this repeated theme that we opened up with the time machine, and then Walt calling him in on it and be like, take out this ridiculous concept of a time machine and just tell me what you want to tell me about. You just wanted to talk about your regrets. And every step of the way is did he have any regrets? Saul Goodman didn't. Jimmy did. And that was really interesting that there was that distinction, because he went into the courtroom as Saul Goodman, putting on the show, putting on the presentation. When it came time to drop the facade and really own up to everything, he became Jimmy again. Laying bare the role that he played in Walt's Empire, laying bare his guilt for what he did to his brother, his pain for what he did to Howard, laying bare and taking responsibility, saying things he didn't need to say, that this trial wasn't even about. He just laid it bare at the feet of everybody around him to just clean the slate and own up to all of it. It's when he was talking to Chuck there at the end in that little flashback, it was that was one of those examples of the time machine, obviously being where that's kind of picked up from a book that Chuck had there on the counter, kind of paved that conversation. Would he have ever changed it? Because like he said in that moment, it's we always end up having the same conversations, don't we? And Jimmy never really let him in. He didn't stick around. He didn't hang. They didn't chit chat. Chuck tried, and then he admits in here this he never really did try. He could have tried harder with Chuck. They were very abrasive against one another, but for their polarized philosophies and personalities. But he could have tried. I mean, Chuck could have been way more understanding as a brother as well. I don't think either one of them is wholly at fault, but the show did really paint, because we were seeing a lot of this through Jimmy's eyes. Chuck came off like the asshole. He did. And we were Chuck, a lot of the time, but we didn't really consider the flip side of that as well. And Chuck, the more things escalated, the more things went. It was a lot of what Chuck saw in Jimmy was who Jimmy was at the core. No matter how Jimmy tried to go around it or connive away from it or change, he just kind of full committed. I think there was probably a path where Jimmy could have been a straight shooting lawyer, maybe had Chuck recognized him and maybe have dropped that prejudice that he had for him, that he had built up all through their childhood. And there's a whole conversation that you could really have, real deep like character study on what may or may not have provoked or set Jimmy down this path, but there was a theme of regrets in this episode. And every step of the way he had the facade up. He had it with Mike. He was like, the money, what can we do without money? I'd go back and invest in stuff and I'd come back. And he was just like, you wouldn't change anything? It's just about money. And then similarly, like with the conversation with Walt, Jimmy's got lots of regrets. And then he feigned throwing Kim under the bus just so she'd hear it through the grapevine and then show up at this trial because it would be pertinent to what's going to happen with her and Howard's widow. And so she came so she could bear witness. So Jimmy set the stage for everybody that he wanted to be there to just kind of strip away his persona that he's built around himself and just be Jimmy for once. Probably for the first time in years that he's been that bear. Bill, though, Oakley, man, like not having a clue what's going on this entire time was hilarious. And I could smell the frustration oozing off of him, man. And I don't know how this affected him in the long run. I don't know if that was a good thing for him to get roped into this situation. And I love that the opposition was just like, let him keep talking. Keep going, buddy. I ain't gonna stop you. He's spouting off. And then on top of that, Marie coming in here, being a part of the whole thing, representing the families of the DEA that were damaged by this, her being brought in on the legal side of things as well. And that front, that was such a surprise. But it's such a nice little bow tie on, some of the things that we've been doing, especially considering Hank and Steve Gomez were part of this show as well early on. And that this would be a good way to give a little bit of closure to some other characters. And I thought they handled that really well. And that whole scene where she's talking about Hank and Steve and really laying it into Jimmy about what's going on, like, it got to me, man. Hank was one of my favorite characters in Breaking Bad, and he really just stayed true to the end. And Steve, man, we actually got to see his wife this time. I can't think of a time we've ever actually seen her, but she exists now. This was wild. This really kind of brought us kind of thematically back full circle with so many different things. And then bookending kind of with Kim and Jimmy from, the first episode to here, both kind of ending with them up against the wall, smoking their cigarettes when she came in, I guess just to hang out, spend time with him. I don't think they got a game going on or whatever, but, he's like, 86 years, whatever it is, I'll be a good boy, and who knows what'll happen. But he's biding his time, he's serving his time, he's not trying to slip in Jimmy out of it now. And because of who he is and who he had become, Better Call Saul, every criminal in this facility knows who he is. They recognize him. He was the criminal lawyer. He was the one to go to. And then not only that, he's in here for the largely lauded, and I got to imagine, like, huge news cycle reveal that comes after that little trial. Obviously that was going to be a big deal anyway, that he was caught after everything that had happened. I'm sure that would be that would be national news, easy. But for him to just admit to all those things on top of that, and then even take credit for Walt, which I mean, he's not wrong to do so, really. Walt did a lot of the work in the end, but he's not wrong. Without him, Walt wouldn't have got very far. But it was just really interesting. That's going to get a lot of recognition. His name's going to carry weight, and that's probably going to make things a little bit easier. And eat, like we saw, like him back in the bakery, using his Cinnabon skills to perfect execution there in the kitchen. He's, as we see, walking through, and the little presentation on the bus, that he's probably not going to have a rough time in prison. Let's let's be real. I'm sure there's going to be some hiccups here and there, but mostly he's got like a reputation that precedes him because of who he was, that I'm sure that it'll be really easy for him to make friends and make nice with all the criminals locked away in there, for better or for worse. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of his world, It's kind of his world. The surprise Walt appearance in this, well, I wouldn't say surprise. We've seen him pop up in the last couple episodes, just here and there, sprinkled in throughout. It was a nice little moment of them just waiting on their new life when they were kind of bunking together after they called the vacuum cleaner. And just get a little bit of, again, a nice little scene between those two and their different personalities and their conversations about regret again. Kind of also polarizing the very stark differences and contrast between these three characters, between Jesse, the way he thinks of things, between Walt, the way he thinks of things, and Saul. It was just a real good mirror to kind of put up between the two of them in that moment. And then the coming down to the ticking of Walt. With Walt, there's always something. There's always something to fixate on. There's always another mission. There's always more. And there's that obsession that comes with it. It even like harkens back to the Fly episode and stuff like that. And then him just like his need to control everything that's going on. Even it was just a great little character moment with just like a small scene like that. I really quite enjoyed it. And then Kim, the law called back to her. She couldn't stay away from it. Like after everything that's going on, after her confessions, everything and like that, and like she started volunteering at that little free legal consultation little venue, working her way back into it. Whether she can or can't even be a lawyer at this point, I would imagine probably not. She can at least help. See, I thought maybe she was going to that was going to be her representation. I wasn't sure where this was going to go at that point, so I thought she was maybe going to go. That's what she was reduced to, having to go to one of those places and get, some cheap help, which she would herself be able to lend her expertise and bolster that a little bit. But no, it was just to be back in it. Actually do what she's been passionate about, that she gave up long ago because of everything that had happened. We saw the life she was living. It was just tasteless. And you could see, like, after everything, that she's now really feeling that and has to go back in some way. This was just a beautiful episode, man. I think it really accentuates what this show has been. I think it capitalizes on not just this show, but just the original as well. This being a little bit of another goodbye to some characters that really maybe didn't get too much time to shine in the back half of Breaking Bad, or let alone the finale. It just has made this really nice, neat package that brought everything together. And I don't know, man. It was just really, really well done. This was a beautiful finale. And just fitting. It's going to be sad to see it go, man. And I'm sure there's things I'm forgetting to talk about right now, because we're just right up the tail end of this, and it was a fairly long episode compared to some of the previous ones, so I'm sure there's some things I've missed, but I'd love to know, how do you guys feel about this? What are your thoughts, your takeaways? How do you feel about this being our goodbye to the Breaking Bad universe? I'd love to know your thoughts. But it's been a wild ride. I love this series. I love Breaking Bad. I love what Vince Gilligan has crafted here. And I can't wait to see what he's got cooking up next. And everybody in this, I'm really excited to see where their careers go after this, because there's a lot of phenomenal actors and actresses this all introduced me to that I'm curious to see where they go. Maybe what I'll see them in next. But guys, what did you think of the finale? What did you think of the series as a whole? It's been wild. Sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Feel free to join us in our Discord. We could talk about it there as well. Links to that and all my socials are down below. Stick around. We got plenty of stuff coming your way. If you want to see the full-length reactions from us on Patreon or if you become a member of the channel, gets you access to that as well. And speaking of, before we go, I want to shout out to channel legends. Manny Sherritt, Ryan Karen, Jason Coleman, Philly Vane, Yori Corey Scott, Margaret Grace, Mary Bradley, Melita, Robert Anguiano, and Raven McCann. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. But that's it for this, guys. That's it for Better Call Saul, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.